Let's start it off this hour in Atlanta, Georgia. Sarah joins us. Sarah, how can we help?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure.
I have a question for Dr. Deloney. So a few years ago, after I had given birth to my first child, I was sent a message and found out that I had a brother that I didn't know existed. And, once I confronted my parents, I don't think I was ever going to be told. And it's just kind of went away. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I've just had a really hard time struggling with it ever since. And I just kind of don't really know how to move forward. I mean, I know you say forgive and forget, but I can't even.
Oh no, you don't forget, Sarah. You forgive, right?
Right.
So why did they not tell you about this brother?
I think there's a lot of reasons. The problem is that you kind of get two different stories, I think, and I think I've kind of pieced it together in my head, but it was before my parents ever met. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't on the side or anything like that. It was before that. So he didn't have a relationship with my father after they met, really after we were born. We never knew. He never came around. And my parents just kind of say, that is over. And he had a father who raised him, and that's not a part of our life. And basically get over it, move on.
So how can I help you? What are you struggling with?
I'm going to try not to cry. Well, a couple of things. Reconciling the father that I love and have always been very close to, with this man who now, I found out has a child that he had no relationship with. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of all the man that I knew. And then also, on the other hand, I've been pretty much given an ultimatum by my mother that I cannot speak to him. I cannot have anything to do with him. That will ruin our family, and it will be my fault.
Wow. So, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Two things. One is, Ken obviously weigh in. One, the person you thought your dad was is different.
Yeah.
You thought he was a person of X caliber, of X integrity, of X past, and you found out that was incorrect. I will tell you that most parents, most of the time, are doing the best they can with the tools they have at the time they make decisions. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it not painful or not hurtful. Sometimes that takes the edge off whether it's evil or not, okay? I don't know your dad. That's between you and him. So that's number one. Number two, I wholeheartedly, with all of my heart and mind and soul and body and spirit, reject the idea that I've got a brother out there that I'm forbidden to talk to.
Right.
Okay? That's putting you in I'm not in the business of talking bad about people's moms, but that puts you in a position that is unfair, is not right, and I'm sorry that happened to you because nobody should be put in that position, period. Okay?
Right.
For whatever reason, and we could probably talk for a couple of weeks on this deal, that your brother is a source of shame and frustration and embarrassment to your mom and dad, and the way they have chosen to handle that is to pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
And that's not a mature way of handling it. That's not an adult way of handling it, but that's the way they have chosen to do it. What you have to do is to choose how you want to handle it. And what I'm telling you right now is if I have a brother that I find out exists somewhere, I will be on the phone. I will be on an airplane. I will have an open front door tomorrow. Okay?
Right.
So I can't tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what I would do. I can tell you that I would recommend all adults having hard conversations with one another. So if you haven't told your dad how you feel, asked him why he didn't tell you, where his heart is, tell him how you're hurting, but yet you meet with him and hold him hostage, I'm going to tell you, you need to be better than that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Going to war with your dad doesn't help anybody. It just leaves a pile of bodies. Okay?
Right.
Sarah, I just want to ask you a quick question about your dad. I know that there's this story from your dad's life you didn't know about, but Was your dad a good dad to you?
The best, yes.
Do you have a great relationship with your dad prior to this information coming out? Did you have a great relationship?
Yes.
So I'm just going to tell you that I don't think he's a different guy all of a sudden. I just think you found out a part of his life that you didn't know about. But that does not discount the fact that he was an awesome dad to you, that he still is an awesome dad to you, and he's ashamed of what happened. But his shame did not change his fathering of you. In fact, you just said he was awesome. So here's a dude who was hurting deeply, yet still fathered you greatly. I don't think that changes anything. That would be my take. And so I think you do what John says, but I think you do it with just a sense of, I'm kind of confused and hurting a little bit, but at the same
hurting
time,
a lot, right?
Okay,
Hurting
a lot.
Yeah.
But my point is that so is he. And yet he still was a great dad to you, and he still is, and he still can be. That would be my only comment as I listened in. I think you got to be careful now with mom. Mom is scared, and mom is putting an ultimatum on you because she doesn't want this thing to come back up, and it surfaced without her permission. It surfaced without her knowing about it, and she's trying to tamp it down. I think you could still honor her pain and do what John said, but don't let her ultimatum stop you. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Grace and mercy. All the times your dad gave you grace and mercy, now it's time for you to pay him back.
Yes. And it's been a long time, several years since I found it out. And I just kind of had to bury it for a while before I was ready to deal with it.
Yeah. Glad you called.
He reached out to me.
Yeah.
And wanted to meet and have a relationship. Sure. But then, so how do I move forward with that? Like, because obviously my boundaries have been.
Sarah, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put you on hold. If you're willing to hold on through the commercial break, we're going to come back. We're going to pick this up. Dr. Deloney is going to tell you how to move forward with this. John, tell our listeners who have just joined us where we were with Sarah, and she's rejoining us.
So, Sarah, make sure I've got this right. You had your own baby. You found out a few years after having your kid that you have a brother that you didn't know was out there. And you are interested, as most of us would be, in connecting with your brother. And you've got two hard challenges. Number one, you're struggling with a dad who loved you, who was a great father to you, but that held this deep secret that you never knew about, that kept you from blood relationships. And you're wondering, who is he? Can I trust him? Is he the man I thought he was? And you're also wrestling with a mom who's given you an ultimatum, which is, we're going to go on as a family as though your brother doesn't exist. And if you reach out to him, I'm done with you too.
Yes.
So hearing that recap from a neutral third party, a couple of guys you just met, how does that sound back to you?
Oh, so many emotions. It's just painful.
Sure.
That it would be that easy to tell me that.
So here's a couple of suggestions that I want you to think through. Following up with what Ken said, and he was very, very wise here. We live in a culture that is one and done. That is, you get one mistake and you can't work here anymore. You can't be in my family anymore. You can't come to my church anymore. We are a one and done culture. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Because most people are doing the best they can with what limited, blunt tools they've got in their toolkit. And most of us got our tools from our parents who are trying the best they could, and they got them from their parents and so on. And so the question you have, and it's really an easy either or for you, is, do you want to forgive your dad? Do you want to have a hard conversation with him and say, I'm interested in learning about why you did what you did? He might not be able to tell you. I'm interested in all of the wonderful, great father attributes you had, but I'm struggling with this one thing, and that's you being vulnerable in relationship with him and giving him a chance to talk for himself, and then you have a decision to make. Do I want that man in my life? Do I want him in his grandchild's life? or not. It's an either or thing. And I wish it could be simple, and it is simple. I wish it could be pain-free. All of those options are going to hurt, Sarah. They're all going to be hard. The second thing is you've got to decide, are you going to call your mom's bluff or not? Are you going to not reach out to your brother? Because she has shown she can wipe somebody clean off her slate and be done with them, right?
Yes.
Most of the time when parents make threats like that, I smile and say, go meet your brother. Your mom's not going to do that to you. Your mom's done it before. It could happen. I don't think it will, but it could happen. Just knowing that the deep shame, deep pain that your mom feels around him is real.
Right. So do I tell her?
That's a decision
beforehand?
for you. I'm somebody who doesn't live my life with secrets. I don't like to live my life behind closed doors.
I don't either. I hate this.
I also don't wander into fires unnecessarily. So maybe you call your brother, you get to talk to him, you get to meet him, you get to know him. And that doesn't have to be something that you immediately hang up the phone and call mom and say, ha, 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 guess what I did? Just to rub her nose in it. But I also am never in the business of lying to my mom and dad.
No.
What do you want out of this, Sarah? What would be an ideal situation?
I'm someone who loves family and loves everyone. I'm a type 2 in the Enneagram. I'm a helper. I like to make people happy. I like to open my home and have people there and everyone enjoying each other. And I just know that that's not a possibility in this situation. So I don't even know. I guess want it to be okay for me to have the feelings that I have and be able to do what I want without being told what I have to do, and that I'm the one who is going to make this into the bad situation when I didn't ask for this.
So, Sarah, how old are you?
In my 30s.
Okay. Well, great avoidance there. That was excellent. So I want you to imagine what your mom said to you, what your mom did to you as she hot potatoed you a giant cinder block, and you caught it with two hands. And she told you, if you put this on the ground, everything falls apart and it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that's inaccurate. Don't carry that brick. Put it down. And then the second thing I want you to do is I want you to grieve the loss of the picture you had of your family, because it's now over. There's a period at the end of that. I'd recommend getting a couple of friends that you trust and literally have a ceremony. It's over. And then you can be about making what your new family is going to look like. You get to choose on this end who's going to be a part of it. Well, that's going to be your brother. Well, it's going to be your mom, your dad. You get to make those decisions affirmatively. But if you don't grieve the end of what that picture was, your brain's going to keep chasing it. You're going to get anxious. You're going to have that low-level depression, that low-level things aren't right. It's going to be a low-level fire that burns throughout your living room for the rest of your life until you end that picture, right?
Right.
John, I have a question for you on behalf of Sarah.
Yeah.
Would it be helpful for her to meet with her dad separately?
Absolutely,
who
100%.
Who knows the whole backstory?
Yep.
And is probably going to give her all the details to try to understand why mom is so wanting to keep this separate.
Yep.
Would that help Sarah understand mom's pain?
Yes.
And why, not that it's not cool that mom did what she did, but we also want I want Sarah to at least understand maybe why mom is so adamant.
Absolutely. Sarah, would your dad have a private conversation with you?
Yes.
My guess is mom has directed him on what he should be doing too. Is that right?
100%.
Okay.
Because Sarah, I'm sorry, there was a lot of details coming at. This was your mom's biological child with another man, not your dad's.
The opposite.
Huh?
The opposite.
Oh, it's your
dad's.
dad's.
Okay.
Oh, it's your dad's biological child with a different woman.
Yes.
Oh, well then, okay, now I know the answer. Okay. I was slightly off, and that's why I asked the clarifying question. But yeah, I still think you should talk with your dad and let him express why your mom feels the way she does. And she feels like, to me, John, that that Sarah's mom put her father in this is how it's gonna be.
Sure. And she wants to have the ideal picture of relationship in her head, and she wants to keep that facade going as long as she can.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm gonna recommend you tell your dad a few weeks out that you're gonna come over to his house, or you want to invite him to your house. If y'all can do this civilly, you're gonna go meet in a restaurant, and I want you to write out what you want to accomplish from that meeting. Going to beat up your dad for something that happened 20, 30 years ago is not going to be helpful. Going there and just being angry isn't going to be super helpful. Being angry is okay. That just points you towards something that you care about, right? But being a hurricane in that meeting is not going to be fruitful or helpful, and you're going to walk away frustrated.
Yeah.
Showing up that meeting with some ideas on what you want to accomplish, what you want to get from, and wanting to listen to your dad's heart and making sure he hears your feelings because they are valid. And then follow up with your brother.
And then, John, we only got a minute here, but I mean, what if she finds out that, you know what, this she wants to meet this brother.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to meet this half-brother. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if mom's not in a place for that, is it okay to look at the timing of that and go, we got to try to, mom and I got to reconnect, and we got to get to a point where mom understands why I want to do it, not just go do it. That's my concern. I don't want to ruin the relationship with mom because mom's not healthy.
And what I think's happening here is mom's making the ultimatum.
I agree.
And so mom's the one who's going to hold the consequence of this relationship.
I know, but I don't want Sarah's mom, her relationship with her mom, to be totally destroyed. I would preach patience to Sarah on meeting the brother.
But I think their relationship's fractured now.
No question.
Because of the ultimatum.
No question. It's a sticky situation.
Woo!
Wow. Great
We'll be praying
stuff.
for you, Sarah.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for calling.